Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to show you how to use a lot of the functions and features of Google Sheets. So using Google Sheets is a great life skill to have. I promise you, once you guys are in college and once you're homeowners and once you're, financially independent adults, knowing how to use Google Sheets is going to make your life a lot easier when it comes to organizing your budgets, to do calculations for things around the house, for your college classes. It's a really good skill to have. So what I'm teaching you today is not just to help you get through this one assignment, but something that I think you can take with you beyond the limits of this class. And what we're going to be talking about today is how to format our data and how to do some calculations. And the reason why I think formatting is so important is looking at this data right here. It's disorganized, it's hard to follow. Properly organizing your data is like a company who has good marketing skills. If a company has a good marketing skill, they'll be able to sell you and make you use a product. Even if a company has a really good product, if it's not organized and pretty, you don't buy it. So it's really important that our data on Sheets is clean, crisp, organized, and easy to follow, because that'll make it that much easier for you to use. And the second part of it was that we want to have our information be what we call dynamic. And dynamic information means that you can change the inputs and the outputs will automatically update accordingly. So the first thing let me start by saying our end goal for this is I want to have our information organized in a way that I could figure out what the sum is, what are all these values added together, what is our mean, our average, what is our median, what is our mode, what is our maximum, what is our minimum, what is our range, and what is our standard deviation. All those things. And we're going to do that all using Sheets. So to get started, the first thing I want to do is I like my information vertical. Right now it's horizontal. I like to see it vertical. And we're going to do that by doing copy paste. And you might think, okay, copy paste is you highlight it, Control C, and then somewhere else, Control V. And you're right. However, Excel and Google Sheets offers a bunch of different ways to paste. And you might be thinking, oh, there's only one way to paste it, right? No, there's actually a bunch. I'll show you. You highlight, right click, copy. Control C would have done that as well. And when you go to paste, look what you have. You have all these different options of pasting. And I'll show you some of them now. First, I'm going to actually change the formatting of this. The default font and font size for Google Sheets is this Arial size 10. I'm going to change these numbers right here just so you can see. Well, lobster? Whatever. Let's just make it something very, very different formatting. Okay. And then I'm going to copy this lobster, which is bold and italicized. And I'm going to come over here, and if I do Control V, I paste it, it pastes both the values, the numbers, and the formatting, right? Notice how now the formatting for all these cells are the lobster bold italicized. I'm going to hit Control Z to undo it. Another paste option is I can paste the values only. And that'll only paste the numbers, but notice how it doesn't paste the values. I'm going to delete that. And, when you type here, blah, 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 blah. Another option for pasting is you can paste formatting only. And what that does is now if you type in these cells, you will be typing in lobster bold italicized. The next one that I want to show you is we can paste transposed. And watch what happens when we paste transposed. It put all the data values from horizontal to vertical. And I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to put this back the regular way, which was not bold, not italicized, and then Arial. So copy, and then right click in B3, and I'm going to paste special, paste it transposed. Boom. And now I can delete these values because I don't need them anymore. And now let's go ahead and let's start with our calculations. Okay, so in this cell over here, I'm going to now ask you, hey, get me the sum. And I'm going to put the sum right on B14. And here's a few ways you can do all these values added together. But the trick is when you click on the cell, you got to type in the equal sign. Once you type in the equal sign, then it is going to assume that you are doing a calculation. So I'm going to do 85 plus 88 plus 94 plus 76 plus 68 plus 73 plus 87 plus 93 plus 94 plus 69 plus 80. And then enter. And I get 907. That was a little bit annoying, right? But here's my sum. However, let's just say that I made a mistake and that one student actually got a 90, so I got to go change that. When I hit 90, this score is not going to change because this score was just a bunch of numbers. I'm going to go back and change that. Instead of doing it that way, let's delete that. I don't want you to do it that way. I want you to do a dynamic system. Remember, dynamic is typing in your calculations so that when you change the input, the output will automatically update. And you can do that this cell is equal to B3. You can click on it, right? If you click on it, it'll come up. Look, B3 plus, you can type in B4. You can also click on them. Plus this cell, plus this cell, plus this cell, plus this cell, all the way down to the bottom. That was another way of doing it. Same answer. But now, when I change the input, the outputs automatically update. However, there's an even easier way. Let's delete that. We're going to use sum. And what sum does is, and it kind of gives you a suggestion, but we're going to pretend we don't see that. What sum does is it gives you the sum of a series of numbers. So I'm going to do sum, open parenthesis, and then I'm going to highlight the values I want to get the sum of. Close it off and enter. Boom. Look how much easier that was. And then you change any numbers, it updates automatically. I also want to get the median. Or let's do the average next. We'll want to do the mean. So we're going to do average. And once you can start typing it in, and once it comes up, you can click on it. Again, it kind of suggested it, knowing that that's a common thing, but let's pretend we don't see it. Average of what? Of these cells. Don't include this last one because you're not including that in your average. You're doing these ones. Enter. And then we're going to do the median equals median equals mode. And there's two modes. We can do singular. Equals max for the maximum value. Equals min. Gotta find it. And for range, you're going to want to do equals range, right? But then you're going to find, oh, it's not there. So how am I going to do the range if it's not there? Well, we can calculate range in a different way, right? We know that range is our maximum minus our minimum. So we can do equals the max of these values, close parenthesis, minus the min of these values. However, there's an even easier way. We just calculated our max and our minimum, right? Our max was B18, our minimum was B19. So let's just say that this cell, B20, which is range, is going to be B18 minus B19. And then finally, let's do standard deviation equals ST, and then right here, standard deviation of our population. And then highlight these cells, and we're good. Now, if you walk away or give this sheet to somebody else and say, hey, look at these numbers, are they going to know what we're talking about? Are they going to know anything about our information here? No, of course not, because it's so unorganized. It's so ugly. We got to clean this up. So let's clean this up now. I'm going to add a cell to the left of here because I kind of like to keep one blank. I think it makes it look nice. I'm going to right click and say, let's insert a cell to the right, or the left actually. And let's start labeling, right? This is the cell of the sum, so we're going to just type in sum. Then we're going to do mean, median, mode, max, min, range, and then we're going to do standard deviation. Is that better? Yeah, we're getting there. I don't like the way this is cut off, so you can make this cell bigger by dragging these values, or you can actually double click it and then it'll move it that way. Are we done? I think we can make it look nicer. You can add borders. So to add borders, you can highlight the cells, and here's the borders over here. Borders, you can do just the insides, the horizontal ones only, the vertical ones, all, outside, etc. So I like to do all, and then over here you can do which kind you want. You can do all thicker, all really thick. I like to do it the thinnest one on all borders, and then I click outer border and do a slightly thicker outer border. And since this right here is kind of a separation, I'll make that a little bit bigger. Maybe I want to add like a title. Let's add a cell above, and we'll make this the title. We'll call this test score statistics. Well, that doesn't really look that good. I want this to be centered across these two cells. Well, you can highlight them, and you can now merge the cells. You can make it italicized. You can make the font bigger. Over here, you can choose the alignment. You can either choose it to be left aligned, center, or right aligned. You can choose it, let's make this cell obnoxiously large. You can choose it to be vertically aligned to the top, the bottom, or the middle. I like middle. Maybe a little bit bigger. Okay. We can add colors. Let's say that these cells, because there are our answers, let's give this a fill color of yellow. Let's make these values bold. Do you see how it's making that look bigger? Oh, look, now it's cut off. You got to double click here again. Oh, that's weird. Let's make it smaller this way. Just showing you what you can do. We got to give this a border. Let's give it, let's call the bottom one double lined. That looks pretty, right? Do you see how it's making it better? Other things are, I don't like how many numbers are over here. You can click on it and you can adjust the decimal places because we know we want it to be one more than our data value. I want these values to be centered. Yeah, that looks cool. That looks nice. Maybe I want these things to be merged. So here's an easy way to merge that. We're going to highlight all these cells, but instead of doing the merge, because if I do that, watch what would happen. Oh, we made it all one. That ruined everything. Instead, you can do the drop down and we can do merge horizontally. Boom. That kind of messed that up, so I don't like that. Maybe we'll merge just these cells. Oh, it messed with our border, so we got to redo that border. So we're going to say we want the left border to be like that. And that looks decent to me. I think that looks pretty good. And what makes this great is now if I have, what do you got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 11 students in the class. I could now use this for all of my examples, right? If I want to copy and paste this, I can do that pretty easily. And then over here, because our yellow cells are dynamic, I can update these numbers to reflect the next test. So next test, we got 80, and then 31, and then random numbers, right? Random numbers. But notice how these values update automatically because it's dynamic. If I want to get rid of that, I can highlight these two cells and I could delete the whole column. And I believe that's probably a good stopping point right here. And that will conclude our first lesson on using Google Sheets.